Hi guys, TJ here. So I spend a lot of my time in my car, so you will probably spend a lot of time in my car as well with me. So one of the reasons I pretty much live in my car, I've actually got spare suits in my car, spare shoes in my car. Some people that know me, I don't know whether they would call me that. I think I call myself the flip-flop entrepreneur. You could find me wearing a suit and flip-flops, jeans and flip-flops. It's my attempt at being a business person, but also kind of, it symbolizes my freedom and my desire to be free. So most of the time you'll see me in flip-flops or just looking like a bum. Anyway, so the reason I spend a lot of my time in my car is because I run another business, which I mentioned in some of our other videos, called sourcing/deal packaging. So what that simply means is I run around going to view and look at deals and assessing and appraising deals on behalf of my investors. So I have people who are busy, but they've heard about service accommodation or they've heard about rent to rent, and they say, hey TJ, this model sounds incredible, I want some action. But unfortunately they don't have the time, or they don't have the desire, or they don't have the skill set to go out there, speak to agents, landlords or developers, or speak to people who have these properties and negotiate it. So what they do is they pay me a reasonable fee, which can range anything from £1,500 to £5,000. So I want that to sink in for a second. Guys, people pay you money to go out there, do the legwork for them, to find them a property, because they're too busy to do it themselves, or they don't have the skill set, or they would just prefer to spend more time doing what they are good at. I'm a salesperson naturally. My background has been in sales. I've run a number of sales businesses before. I'm a good salesperson. So my story, how I fell into sourcing, was by mistake. I heard about service accommodation a few years ago. I went mental saying, whoa, I can rent a property from someone and I can re-rent it out with their permission and make some money on top. So I was like, hold on. Why do I need to do it on one property when I can do it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hundreds of properties? So I called every single agent and landlord in the world. When I say I called probably 50, 60, 100 people a day saying, hi, have you heard about this property thing? And I couldn't even explain it properly because I didn't even know what it was. I just knew I could rent a property. I didn't know the term service accommodation, rent to rent, whatever. I just said, hi, I want to rent your property and I want to rent it out to someone else who's going to come on holiday and stay in the apartment. And I had so many agents hanging up the phone, and you'll get the same thing as well as you start your journey. But that's fun. That builds up your tenacity and your resilience, and you can take over the world. So what I did was I called hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. Some went through, some didn't go through. And all that ended up happening was eventually, sorry, someone's just come to my car and distracted me. So let me get back to my video. So all that kept on happening was I kept on getting no's. And then about a year later, I got agents calling me out the blues saying, hi TJ, do you remember you called us and you asked us about this property? Do you still want it? You know, we've heard about this service accommodation stuff. I think that's what you were trying to explain. I was like, well, do you know what? I've kind of got about 20 or 30 units working for me right now in specific locations. So I don't want what you've got. So I'm sorry, I can't help you. And then one day an agent said to me, oh, do you know anyone else who might want it? Then my mind went crazy again. And I said, oh my God. So what you're saying is I can find someone else for you to take that property to use as a service accommodation business. So what I did was I learned some more about marketing. I built up a group of people that were interested, posted crap loads of stuff on Facebook, shared loads of stuff. And then all of a sudden, people started coming to me as the go-to person to find deals for service accommodation. I said, oh my God. Which means I'm able to charge people £1,500 up to £5,000 to deliver them a deal. But again, you have to make sure once you get into this business, you have to understand it has to be done ethically. Because once you make one mistake, once your name gets tarnished once, nobody will ever buy any more deals from you. And you know what? It's done. So now let's go back to this, guys. For the people who say, hey, I want to get into property. I don't have any money. I can't get into property. I'm like, well, that's another property business that you don't need a penny to start. What you do need is a bit of tenacity. You need some hard work. You need some understanding, but you need to understand the model first. You can't sell something that you don't know about. In fact, I don't believe you should sell something that you're not partaking of. So I can appraise a deal very quickly, smartly, effectively, and honestly, because I understand the business. I know what makes money. I know how to break it down, how to sell it properly. And the entire component is what we call sourcing and deal packaging. And you were able to make thousands a month by doing this ethically, which means finding two things: finding landlords, agents, and developers that want to give up their property, finding someone who wants to take on that property. Your job is just a middleman, and you get a fee in the middle. Guys, property is mad. So that's the two businesses I run: service accommodation and sourcing. Well, that's my two property businesses, and that's what I really kind of focus on. So most of my videos will talk about how to get started in some form of property. I'll interview some people who are doing other strategies as well, but I'm talking about the easy stuff. I'm not saying easy to do, but I mean the easiest to get into, because they require the least amount of money to get started. So what's stopping you? See you later.